welcome to Konya.
Though this is a much less travelled city, it still has plenty to offer, like the incredible Aladdin Park that we're in right now.
And although they don't really have much for vegans here, they certainly make up for it, as there's one dish that you can find literally everywhere.
It's the accidentally vegan Cig Kofte.
Now this small but beautiful mosque behind us is rather famous here in Turkey, as it's the only one that has windows larger than its doors. Now possibly the most famous association that Konya has here in Turkey is to the whirling dervishes.
The dervishes take part in a religious practice called whirling. Now this is part meditation, part worship, and it involves rotating in continuous circles for sometimes hours.
Now, while not strictly enforced, the Sufi Muslims that perform this ritual are staunch believers in a vegetarian diet.
Which in part accounts for the much larger than normal number of Cig Kofte outlets throughout the city.
So let's head over to our next site to find out a little bit more about what Cig Kofte actually is. We're now here in the city bazaar, where if you're looking for something in particular, I can guarantee you that at least one stall is selling it.
Cig Kofte, spelled C-I-G, is also sometimes known as raw meatballs. That's because originally the recipe included ground meat.
Now the recipe's changed a lot over the years to become more vegan, and this started when it became a fast food, and it didn't quite comply with the hygiene regulations, so they had to remove the meat altogether. And now this is the case across the entirety of Turkey.
So this means that unless you find a fancy version specifically made to contain meat, your raw meatballs will actually be made of bulgur wheat, pomegranate and spices.
Now you can most commonly find it served in a wrap, but sometimes on its own as well, and increasing in popularity in taco form too.
I for one am very curious about this dish, so let's go find the restaurant now.
Behind us here is Osses, a famous fast food chain here in Turkey that specialises in Cig Kofte.
They've been rustling up Cig Kofte since the 90s, so they really know their stuff.
Right, let's go in, grab a table and give them a try. So we've had our Cig Koftes made up by the lovely man. He actually spoke really good English, which is not common, or we haven't found that very much so far in Konya, so that was a pleasant surprise. And he helped us through the process and showed us exactly what was going into it. So you've got the Cig Kofte itself, which was nicely spread out along the base of the wrap before having some salad added, and then some pickles, and then the pomegranate sauce, which makes it famously a little sweet. Kyra opted to have some chili on her one. I've gone for no chili, just so we can kind of taste that difference. If you're vegetarian, there was also the option to add Doritos. Apparently that's a thing, but yes, so we're excited to give them a try. So we've got one small one and one medium one. The small one was 45 lira and the medium one 55 lira. I'm just looking over at the sign now. So I went for the slightly larger one. You can see the slightly different sizes. And rather than getting stuck in, I think I'll give Kyra the opportunity to try hers first.
Okay, I'm excited that I get to try this first. The wrap itself, I can feel already, it's quite thin. It feels quite thin and almost floury compared to ours. But I'm gonna try it. Look at that. It's really, really, really tasty. Really nice. It is kind of meaty. Like, you would think that this was meat, but it's not. I love how thoroughly he's kind of put it around the wrap, and I love the kind of heat that's in mine from that spicy sauce. Oh, it's really tasty. It's really savoury as well. Let's get Mike to try it.
My go. Okay, I'm just gonna get stuck in and try this straight out. Like Kyra said, there's definitely like a meaty taste to this. I'm quite impressed. There's a bit of heat in there already, and that's without the chili, so kind of glad I didn't go with the chili. But one thing's for sure, I think I want to stress, this is actually often served cold, and so everything inside the wrap is cold, and the traditional raw meatball is supposedly made with raw meat, so it's supposedly served cold. Of course there's no meat in this, but it's still served cold, and it's kind of strange. I can't think of many times where you would eat like almost ground meat, as this is supposed to be imitating cold. So it's a little unnerving, but it is really tasty. It's full of flavour. That was loud. But it's full of flavour. So yeah, let's crack in. I'm getting pretty hungry, so enough talking, eh?
Okay guys, it's time to eat.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, so you saw us try the Cig Kofte, and wow, my mouth still is kind of tasting it. It was spicy, it was sweet, it was also savoury. It was a real medley of flavours, and it was certainly an exciting one to eat. So much going on there. I don't know, I wouldn't have it again tomorrow, but I think there's definitely a situation in which I would crave this. So I'm definitely not saying this is something that I wouldn't eat again. I could definitely eat this again.
I think for me, like it's very savoury, but it's also sweet. Like Kyra was saying, it had everything. But I think the overpowering one was savoury, and even without the spicy sauce, it was still quite hot. And I found it quite filling. Personally, I'm not sure I'd get it again, but I'm really pleased to have tried it, and I really enjoyed the whole experience. And I think again, the fella who served us was just lovely, wasn't he?
He was so nice. He talked us through all the different ways we could have it, helped us pick what was right for us, and then it was great that we could just we could watch him build it and assemble it. And it was fun. It was really interesting, and yeah, he was just lovely. And do you know what? The people of Konya have been so lovely as well. It's such a tranquil place, such a friendly place. Not tons here for vegans, but there's the odd bit like the Cig Kofte that you can find and get excited about.
Yeah, so just to second that, yeah, the people here have been absolutely lovely, and I'd recommend a trip to Konya. Just make sure, be ready to head to a supermarket and try and put together some sort of crazy meal like we did with a sandwich and crisps the other day. But otherwise, guys, thank you for joining us on this one, and thank you for sticking with us to the end. We've got all sorts of other ways you can help us, and we've listed them all down below if you just want to follow us on our socials. Otherwise, guys, in the meantime, eat your greens.